who you are.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, don't be Ellen. Don't pretend
Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask
that
you
you're
that.
nice
Yeah.
and then be the other way. That's what loses people.
So, fun fact about Greg Fitzsimmons. Greg Fitzsimmons he's a 4-time Emmy-winning.
For decades, audiences believed they knew the real Ellen DeGeneres. Her entire brand was built around one unforgettable promise: kindness always comes first. But long after the spotlight faded, new voices have started pulling back the curtain, and the picture they're describing looks nothing like the one millions watched on television. Among them is former writer and producer Greg Fitzsimmons, whose recent comments have reopened a chapter many assumed Hollywood had already buried. His statements arrive as former employees continue describing what they say happened behind closed doors. Industry insiders revisit years of public controversy, and forgotten accusations suddenly find new life across the internet. Is this simply old history resurfacing, or does it look like something much bigger is finally beginning to unravel? Because if Greg's version is only one piece of the puzzle, then one of daytime television's most carefully protected images may have hidden a far more complicated reality. And what emerged next didn't just cast doubt on Ellen's carefully crafted reputation, it sparked an unsettling question that the entertainment industry still seems unable to answer.
Writer.
Oh, nothing.
And you won 4 daytime Emmys as a writer and producer on Ellen's show.
Right.
And obviously she's got her new special, and there's some damage control in there and everything else. Now, I've heard it's a tale of 2 Ellens, and you can tell me if this is true or not. Like, before the show kind of hit, she was one way, and then how success, we talked about this recently too. Someone gets that big deal. They get, or athletes too. They'll get like they're great. They get a really big contract, and all of a sudden they're crap.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they can't remember how to play football. I've seen radio people that get like some big show gets a really big, and all of a sudden they forget to be the show that they were when they were coming up.
Yeah, they buy an electric truck.
Yeah, I heard. They buy a cyber truck.
Some people call it transcending.
Yeah, but like what I heard about Ellen, I've known other people who have worked in that show, and they say a lot of the stuff that you hear is absolutely true. That once she kind of became Ellen, famous talk show host Ellen, and that hit, she was like unbearable.
That's actually...
For a long time, Ellen DeGeneres represented one of television's most trusted personalities. Her brand revolved around positivity, generosity, and kindness, and each new season reinforced that carefully maintained image. To millions watching from home, there was little reason to question it. But people who say they worked behind the scenes have since described a workplace that allegedly felt far removed from the version audiences saw on screen. One of the latest voices is former writer and producer Greg Fitzsimmons, who joined the show during its formative years. Unlike online commentators looking back later, Greg's perspective comes from someone who says he witnessed the environment firsthand, well before the controversy dominated headlines. Others familiar with the production have also suggested that as the show's influence expanded, the atmosphere behind closed doors reportedly changed, setting the stage for allegations that would not become public until much later.
Dead on. It was, first of all, I was excited to get the job. I went after the job. When I heard she had a show coming on, I've just always been a huge fan of her stand-up.
Yeah,
and,
her stand-up's great. That's the thing.
Great.
It's like,
it's really good.
And so I did a submission, and I was friends with the executive producer and the head writer, so I got hired pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then it was a love fest because I was there, a month or two before the show launched, coming up with what the show was going to be. And so we'd sit in Ellen's office and we would laugh and we'd bust balls and we'd play ping pong, and it was like fun.
Yeah.
And then
In the beginning, everything seemed unstoppable. Ratings climbed, awards kept arriving, A-list celebrities filled the guest chairs, and Ellen's daytime success appeared stronger than ever. From the outside, it looked like the perfect Hollywood story. Yet, according to multiple accounts, the period of greatest success may have marked the point when things quietly began changing behind the scenes. While viewers continued seeing the same polished image on television, some insiders now claim a very different reality was unfolding away from the cameras.
the day we won Emmys, it all changed.
So what changed? So
people started getting fired. People started getting shamed. Whatever. I signed an NDA, so I should.
Did you really?
Yeah. I shouldn't be saying any of this, but let's just say this. People had nervous breakdowns.
Yeah.
People cried. It was unpleasant.
As time passed, more former employees, writers, producers, and staff members started sharing stories that challenged one of daytime television's most carefully protected reputations. Their accounts fueled a growing public conversation that refused to disappear. And if those claims reflected only part of what was happening, it looked like the full story was still waiting to surface. Even voices like Joe Rogan and Tom Dillon have echoed concerns similar to those raised by Greg Fitzsimmons, adding even more attention to the debate.
That someone who seems so nice is
Yeah.
not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a bitch, right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they have
Dogs
like
around them.
Yeah, she's got dogs and hoods. If an intern's late, they have a hood on. I don't support that. That's
Standing on
just
a
me.
bucket. Yeah, I'm with you.
One message defined Ellen DeGeneres' entire career: be kind. It became far more than a catchphrase. It was the image that shaped her success and earned the trust of millions. Year after year, audiences believed they were watching one of Hollywood's most authentic and compassionate stars. But once the applause faded, another version of the story reportedly began surfacing. Former writer and producer Greg Fitzsimmons is among those who have publicly described a workplace that he says felt very different from the warm image viewers saw on television. As additional former staff members shared similar experiences over the years, online discussions intensified, and some insiders began suggesting there was a growing disconnect between Ellen's polished public persona and what certain employees allegedly experienced after the cameras were turned off.
Well,
Yeah, I did the first 2 years on that show.
and she was
She was rough. She was the C word. Yeah.
was she just short with you? I mean, what was exactly?
It was like if
happening?
you didn't pitch in her wheelhouse, then she looked at you like you had just f***ing stabbed her puppy. And then there was this process of pushing people out of the circle. And you want to be in the circle because there's a lot of fear going on.
Yeah.
And you're in or out. So there's a lot of it didn't really bother me that much because I'd written on a lot of shows before and I kind of knew what it was like to have tough bosses.
Yeah.
I wrote for Bill Maher.
Sure.
And so I was just tough enough, but then there was these first time writers they used to cry. There was a lot of crying in the hallways.
Greg wasn't the only person raising questions. As more former employees and others claiming first-hand knowledge came forward, their stories reportedly revealed striking similarities. While each account differed in detail, together they fueled a narrative that challenged one of television's most carefully protected reputations, and made many people wonder whether the public had only ever seen one side of the story.
We will have a hotline number later for you if you have been sexually assaulted at the Ellen DeGeneres program, which everyone that has ever worked there has apparently been goosed in the dressing room at the Ellen DeGeneres. What is going on at Ellen? She's out there dancing, and in the back, it's a free-for-all, apparently. It's the Marquis de Sade is running around the dressing room at Ellen, terrifying the employees. I thought she was just a bitch. That's what I thought. I know people that know her, but apparently it's not that. There's sex deviants running around, and they're making people feel uncomfortable. They're sick. Get up how many people have been sexually assaulted, Ellen. I won't stand for it. I won't stand for this anymore. Do I like the show more now? That's the question. Do I like it more now that I know that Ellen DeGeneres has been running a room in the back of her fan positive shout.
To understand why so many former employees eventually chose to speak publicly, it helps to look back at how Ellen DeGeneres became one of daytime television's most admired figures. Long before the massive ratings, celebrity interviews, and the Be Kind identity defined her career, her path to fame was far less predictable. Because before the allegations and public scrutiny, there was an underdog story that inspired millions. In her early 20s, Ellen was still searching for direction. She worked a series of everyday jobs, including painting houses, tending bar, factory work, and even selling vacuum cleaners door to door. By her own account, comedy wasn't part of some carefully planned dream. Friends reportedly convinced her to perform at a charity event, and that single opportunity unexpectedly changed the course of her life. Although she later admitted stand-up wasn't an immediate passion, audiences quickly connected with her understated delivery and unique style. Throughout the 1980s, her popularity steadily grew, culminating in winning Showtime's Funniest Person in America in 1982. That breakthrough led to appearances on major late-night programs and opened the door to a career that would eventually make her one of Hollywood's biggest stars.
Remember the appointment I have to get to, so I gotta go. How about that? Got who? Gotta go? Cute? Stupid. Alrighty. It was good talking to you too. And I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much.
That's very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very clever and very fresh. And
Well, that's wonderful hearing that from you.
no, I mean it. It's good material.
Thank you.
How long you been doing this?
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you work in the comedy clubs and like the improv and.
Oh, a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
The road is tough.
I know it's got to be, and it's always tougher for a woman to do comedy.
I say that, and men think I'm being chauvinistic.
No, it's not at all, because they'll accept a certain amount. They'll accept a little more aggression in men for some reason.
Exactly. I think men can get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
And which is understandable, I think.
Yeah. But that's very good stuff.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I wish you would. Will you come back with us soon?
I would love to.
Okay, you got an open invitation.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Al. We'll take a break. We'll be.
Another defining moment arrived in 1994 when ABC launched her sitcom, Ellen. Starring as a socially awkward but relatable bookstore owner, she quickly became one of television's brightest new names. Then came the moment that would permanently change both her career and television history. In 1997, during the now famous Puppy episode, her character came out as gay on national television, a landmark event that reshaped cultural conversations and became one of the most discussed episodes in TV history. But some of the biggest milestones are often followed by unexpected consequences. After that groundbreaking episode, Ellen's career reportedly entered a quieter period. Major projects became less frequent, and several film roles failed to generate the same momentum she once enjoyed. Around that same time, her then partner, actress Anne Heche, also experienced professional setbacks during their relationship. Years later, Anne openly reflected on the intense pressure and public scrutiny they faced, offering her own perspective on a chapter that remained one of Hollywood's most widely discussed stories.
Too, except I couldn't see the end of it because they ushered Ellen and me out of the premiere before it ended, put us in a car and said, well, we don't want you back here. We will not be accepting pictures of you and Ellen. And then I was fired. I was told before I went to the premiere with Ellen that I would be fired. And I was...
Are we talking about 90?
Now you're going to put years on... yes.
92? Early, there was 2 volcanoes. Dante's
Yeah, but they came out the same week.
Right.
Ours won, by the way, and then they blamed me for its failure for taking a woman. I was like, but we were number 1 in the box office. The confusion of how I was fired and the fact that nobody has ever acknowledged it is just shows, in a way, it shows how much further we've come. Because if that would have happened today, obviously, it wouldn't happen today, and I feel glad that I'm a part of that. But yes, I met Ellen, just to give you a bit of a timeline, because it's kind of interesting. I think people don't understand how quickly this all happened for me. On Sunday night, I met Ellen at the volcano. On Sunday, I met her at the Vanity Fair party for the Oscars. On Tuesday night, she was coming out on her show. I didn't even know who she was. This is part of the naivete that led my life to such destruction or celebration, however you choose to look at it. I fell in love with the truth of what that incredible human being was doing. Then I had to be in a relationship with her, so that was a little difficult. So I asked her to go. Premiere. And then on Wednesday, which was the volcano, I asked her to come and meet me for lunch at the Four Seasons, and I was greeted by 5 suits. Ellen was sitting in a chair, and I said, as far as I remember, I didn't invite anybody else to lunch today. And they said, we know that you want to take Ellen to the premiere, and we're here to tell you that you will be fired from your $10 million picture deal if you do it. And then Ellen looked at me. I was sitting on the armchair of because she little Four Seasons chair, and she said, "Do what they say. You don't know what you're up against. We've only known each other for a couple of days." And I said, "I do know what I'm up against. I'm up against sitting in a room after you've just come out on national television to preserve the right of anybody to be able to love who they want to love, and now you're sitting in the soup of the demise of a culture that does not pay attention to that truth. I will take you to the premiere, and whatever those consequences are, my dear."
Anne later said she eventually stepped away from Hollywood, embracing a quieter life centered on writing, directing, gardening, and living outside the industry spotlight. Yet she also suggested that even after years of success and reinvention, Ellen never seemed to fully find the lasting sense of fulfillment she had been searching for, a reflection that added another layer to an already complicated public story.
One Ellen controversy that isn't really a huge controversy, but has always irritated me, and I think it's the perfect way for us to close out this deep dive. During the pandemic, when there was a lot of uncertainty when it came to especially talk show television that usually had live audiences, Ellen made the decision to not stand by her staff, her writers, her employees, and she decided to kind of leave them high and dry without any kind of job, any plan, any severance, health insurance, nothing. And she hired a non-union company to film and produce the Ellen DeGeneres show from her home so she could continue to do the show while quarantined. The pandemic was already a scary enough time with so many people having housing insecurity, job insecurity, food insecurity, and to just drop your entire team of people who have kept your show running for so long is unprofessional and unethical at best, especially when you are a multimillionaire who could do a little something to ensure that your staff members will be okay until their next paycheck. Ellen's staff scrambled to find themselves work and new jobs, while Ellen sat comfortably in her home with her new production company doing The Ellen Show. While Ellen was in quarantine and doing The Ellen Show from her home, just keep in mind, we were all in quarantine during that time. We all remember what it was like, except for our first line workers. We love you. We appreciate you. But Ellen describes having to socially distance and stay home as similar to going to jail. Keep it in mind that at this time, Ellen was quarantined in her $15 million mansion with her wife, and that's just one of her mansions. Ellen has bought and sold over 50 properties in Los Angeles, and at one given time will own tens of millions of dollars in real estate. So really, if she wanted to, she could just go to a different one of her houses if she was feeling, so trapped and in jail. If she was feeling, like the walls were caving in her $15 million mansion. This did not hit for a lot of people, as a lot of people couldn't even pay their rent during the pandemic, okay? People were losing their jobs left and right. And it's just a very privileged take, especially with the fact that jails and prisons had some of the highest numbers of lives lost due to the virus because of the close quarters they were living in. With all that being said, I absolutely do not think that she is the kind, generous, loving person who she portrays on TV screen. I just don't think that she's that person. Do I think it's very telling of her character and her ethics and her integrity that she looks at figures such as Woody Allen as inspiration? Absolutely. That is nasty and disgusting. Ultimately, Ellen believed she had the privilege and the authority to treat people however she wanted, to treat people like garbage with absolutely no kinds of consequences.
According to former staff members and others who later discussed the workplace culture, Ellen's reach reportedly extended well beyond her daytime talk show. As her career expanded, she became connected with many of Hollywood's most recognizable names, leading some observers to believe she had built an exceptionally powerful circle of influence around her. But those connections weren't the only reason her name continued making headlines. As criticism surrounding the show intensified, older online speculation involving prominent figures in Hollywood, including discussions connected to Jeffrey Epstein's broader social network, began resurfacing across social media. Many of those claims remain unverified and heavily disputed, yet their renewed circulation prompted fresh public debate about influential relationships, celebrity circles, and whether certain people had avoided the same level of examination others faced. At the same time, comments made years later by Ellen's former partner, Anne Heche, added another perspective. Anne suggested that success, status, and professional ambition increasingly shaped Ellen's priorities, an image that contrasted with the warm, approachable personality audiences had come to know on television. So why did criticism remain so limited for such a long time? Some former employees and industry observers believe influence may have played an important role. They argue that the ability to shape public perception, impact professional opportunities, and command enormous industry respect reportedly created an environment where many people felt remaining quiet carried fewer risks than speaking openly. And for years, it looked like as that silence held, until more voices gradually began telling a very different story.
That there was such a conscious, deliberate erasing of what it was that I was talking about is what we have to look at. Not what was done wrong, but why we were not able to talk about it then. Why were we not able to talk about love? Has it taken us this long to be able to do it? So we're moving into a next step, hopefully. And hopefully I have some more intelligence, I know I do, around it because I've studied it to be able to communicate a little bit better about what happened 20 years ago and the fact that it's taken us 20 years to be able to be at a point where we can listen to the truth again.
And Ellen's fine. She can sit on her pile of money.
I hope you like your money because that's why I broke up with you. Do you like sitting on your piles of cash? Because guess what? It gets you exactly where you are. And by the way, baby, it's what you wanted then, and I hope you're liking it now. Cheers.
You broke up with her because she had a lot of money, or you broke up with her because...
I broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion. Good luck. Our forks are never going to meet. The further we stay on with this, the further we will be apart.
She didn't live in that loving kindness,
No,
did
she didn't. But you and I don't talk
only
about
she wasn't a dick.
Revenge a lot,
No, we don't. There's one thing that I remember. There is one little nugget that I do have a sense of wanting a little bit of. I guess the only word is revenge. I feel that you were so wronged. And now to know that you were continuing to be wronged, it fires me up a little bit. And especially, look, when you look at somebody like Ellen, who literally is sitting on a pile of $60 billion and then
could feed countries,
right? And then
but you got a Porsche.
I mean, you're not. Several former employees and individuals familiar with the production have suggested that Ellen's standing in Hollywood may have helped shield her from serious public criticism for years. Some industry observers argue that when influential people reach a certain level of power, difficult conversations can be pushed aside, accusations may struggle to gain traction, and those considering speaking publicly often weigh the potential cost to their careers. But no public image stays beyond question forever. As additional writers, producers, staff members, and others connected to the show gradually came forward with their own accounts, the reputation that had been carefully built over decades reportedly came under unprecedented public examination. Whether every allegation is ultimately verified or not, the growing number of similar stories have left many observers asking the same unsettling question: what was really happening once the cameras stopped rolling? And why did so many people wait until now to tell their side of the story?
Ellen's longtime former DJ Tony, who was her DJ before he was replaced with Twitch, also shared the sentiment that the environment at the Ellen DeGeneres show was a toxic work environment, which is very telling because if you go back and watch the Ellen DeGeneres show, Tony always had a smile on his face. He was always as happy as can be, never upset to be the butt of the joke. He just seemed like a very pleasant individual. Many have also come to the defense of Taylor Swift, who had a very uncomfortable interaction with Ellen when she went on her show. In one particularly awkward instance, Ellen was playing a game with Taylor in which Taylor was supposed to identify all of the men whom she had dated or had relations with. During the game, Taylor Swift was visibly uncomfortable, on the verge of tears, asking Ellen to stop. And while I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, I think it's very easy to offer one another decent human respect. And if she was in a situation that she was clearly uncomfortable, Ellen had the power to change that, and she chose not to. And Taylor Swift is most certainly not the only person who fell victim of Ellen doing this. This was kind of her MO. She wants to make her guests feel uncomfortable. She wants to kind of harbor an energy that makes her guests feel like they're being put on the spot. Celebrity or not, media trained or not, there's just certain things you can't prepare for. And there are certain things that happen on that show that just genuinely did not need to happen. Ellen would later go on to address the people who were calling her out for creating a toxic work environment and for being overall problematic with the way she interacts with her guests. But at the time, Ellen stated that she didn't really understand what the issue was, and she believed that the entire situation was very orchestrated and largely created by social media bots. I could literally go on and on about the awkward and the controversial moments that played out on screen of the Ellen show, but I want to go on and talk about some of the strange connections and friendships that Ellen DeGeneres has off screen. One of Ellen's many friends is former President George W. Bush. Ellen and this former president have even gone to NFL games together. They seem very chummy. Despite the fact that while he was in office, George W. Bush fought very hard against gay rights and the right to marriage, and he shamelessly facilitated mass unalivings in the Middle East while he was president, but that doesn't seem to bother Ellen. They are buddies. Pretty much any controversial celebrity you can think of is probably buddies with Ellen. Now, there's two things that I want to touch on because I know that you guys will eat me up if I don't. And those two things are the passing of Twitch and the passing of Ellen's ex-girlfriend, Anne. So very briefly, in a nutshell, Twitch was the DJ who replaced DJ Tony on the Ellen show, and he was also a So You Think You Can Dance alumni. In December of 2022, Twitch was found unalive in a hotel room not far from his residence. It was revealed that Twitch took his own life due to a self-inflicted wound to the head. When Twitch's mother found out that her son had passed away, she was immediately suspicious and believed that someone had harmed him.
Even after years of headlines, several questions continued circulating online. Public speculation surrounding Ellen's connections to influential Hollywood circles, including discussions that referenced Jeffrey Epstein's broader social network, persisted despite remaining heavily disputed. At the same time, other highly controversial allegations from private individuals also surfaced, drawing significant media attention. Those claims have not been established as fact, but they fueled an even bigger debate about where rumor ended and reality began.
Yes, it's one of those tearjerker shows. And so I just, because Ellen did 2 shows. She did one show where she kind of surprised them virtually with luggage, and they didn't know where they were going. And then she flew up into Los Angeles, and they just recently did an update on November 11th with a life-changing gift that she gave the family, okay? And she thanked your brother-in-law, Jerwayne, for his service, because he is a firefighter, and pretty much she thanked your sister, Shawanda, for, I guess being of service to 5 children who were being placed in foster care and who were homeless. And she gifted them a brand new Hyundai Palisade and $50,000 from Hyundai, the actual corporation who makes the cars. And they actually sponsored the show. So they chose your sister, your brother-in-law, and thanked them for adopting. Did they adopt? Let me make that clear, because there's a difference between becoming a foster parent and adopting.
Well, they went through the process.
Okay.
Yeah, they went through the process.
And like when you do your introduction, we'll get into how like these things transpire in the state of Alabama, so we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And so, yes, I guess Shawanda and Jerwayne are adopting, or in the process of adopting and becoming more foster parents in their community. So I guess they're in the process of adopting your 5 children. And so that is a big thing to do, to take in 5 children. But in your defense, this is all fake.
Well, they have went through processes, but
okay,
how kids get in this system is.
Although no public evidence has conclusively linked Ellen DeGeneres to Jeffrey Epstein's activities, her name has periodically appeared in online speculation surrounding powerful Hollywood circles. As renewed attention focused on newly released Epstein-related records, some social media users questioned whether any high-profile celebrities would be mentioned. To date, however, speculation alone has not established wrongdoing, leaving many of the claims circulating online unverified.
Epstein's secret emails are set to be unredacted and released today. One of your top DC Daily headlines for July 2. Epstein files. We're set to see another batch of unredacted files today, including 8 secret emails, both to and from Epstein, about a reported video. Well, President Trump's acting attorney general was told by a federal judge last month that the unredacted files must be released by today or submit a reason for cause showing why.
For a long time, the public only witnessed the carefully polished version of Ellen that appeared on screen. But as more former colleagues, including Greg Fitzsimmons, began sharing what they say happened behind the scenes, that long-standing image started facing questions it had never faced before. So where do you stand? Do these accounts point to a hidden reality that stayed buried for years? Or do you believe the biggest revelations haven't surfaced yet? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering Hollywood's most talked about stories, behind-the-scenes controversies, and documentary-style investigations, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next story might change the way you see another celebrity forever.